When it comes to art and photography, nothing beats investing in a solid DSLR camera. Regardless of whether you're looking for the budget DSLR cameras, or just want to have the best DSLR camera that money can buy, you came to the right place. If you're interested in finding out which DSLR camera is best for you, stay tuned. Before getting started, I'd like to say that this list is based on my personal opinion, research and the test experiences of the actual owners. So, without further ado, let's get started with the list. The Canon EOS 7D was, at its introduction, without question, the best APS-C sensor-sized DSLR that Canon had ever produced. While that camera remains a strong contender even today, 5 years after its introduction, the Canon EOS 7D Mark II is a huge upgrade from this model. At a summary level, stuff a Canon EOS 1DX into a 7D-sized APS-C body with an APS-C-sized sensor, add a few enhancements, cut the price by more than half, and you get a 7D Mark II. This camera is a bargain-priced, professional duty-ready DSLR waiting to tackle your world. Reading through the Canon EOS 7D Mark II specifications will give you a great deal of information about this camera, but starting at the top, the 7D II gets a new 70D matching, EOS APS-C category topping, 20.2 megapixel APS-C format imaging sensor. The 20.2 MP resolution is not enough of an increase over an 18.0 MP model to drive an upgrade for most people, but more resolution is usually better with all other aspects remaining equal. With the highest density DSLR sensors available, the EOS 7D II along with the 70D leave the Canon pack for reach. When you are lens focal length limited, a more dense sensor can deliver more resolution in your final crop. Of course, the considerably smaller than full-frame APS-C format sensor gives your lenses a narrower angle of view, making them appear to have a 1.6x longer focal length than the numbers printed on them. With shorter focal length lenses are generally less expensive, smaller, lighter, and possibly available with a wider aperture is welcomed by all. Body shape-wise, the Canon 7D Mark II looks very similar to the original 7D. It's a classic chunky frame DSLR, whose 148.6 by 112.4 by 78.2 mm dimensions, and 910 grams are out to appeal to fairly serious, traditional photographers. The Canon EOS 7D Mark II isn't going to impress people looking for the latest upgrades in every area. The lack of 4K video, Wi-Fi, a tilt display, touchscreen operation, and even lightweight extras such as auto panorama stitching may be a bit too much for many of you. However, for those who have already bought into the Canon lens system, the 7D Mk2 provides the right sort of performance in all the most important areas. Shooting speed, metering, and autofocus are all great, and a significant improvement over the classic EOS 7D. If that's what you're after, go for the Canon EOS 7D Mark II. This latest addition to Nikon's DSLR lineup represents the biggest revamp we've seen in the D7 series since the D7000 replaced the D90. The combination of Nikon's 20.9 MP sensor and XP5 image processing engine from the D500 in an even more compact and affordable body is bound to be a tempting prospect for both new and existing users. One of the biggest shakeups the Nikon D7500 brings is the change of sensor. While both the D7100 and D7200 sported 24 MP chips, here Nikon has opted to use the slightly lower resolution 20.9 MP sensor from the D500, which, as in that camera, is teamed with Nikon's XP5 image processor. We're pleased to see 4K UHD video capture arrive on the D7500 at 30, 25, and 24p for up to 29 minutes and 59 seconds. As usual, there are lower resolution video modes, and full HD footage can also be shot in 60p for slow motion playback. In addition, 4K UHD time-lapse movies can be created in camera, And there's electronic vibration reduction, to help you reduce the impact of camera shake when shooting movies handheld. The D7500 also offers simultaneous 4K UHD output to card, and uncompressed via HDMI, as well as a headphone and microphone jack for pro-level audio recording and monitoring. The Nikon D7500 is an excellent addition to the company's DX format camera line. One can almost think of it as the younger sibling to the D500, with the same stellar image quality and incredible speed and AF accuracy. Its video autofocus performance may not be as responsive as that of, say, Canon's EOS 80D, but the D7500 is most impressive because of its image quality and high-speed performance, particularly against other DSLRs in its class. With its close relationship to the D500, the Nikon D7500 wears several different hats. It's a great option for enthusiasts who want to take their photography up a notch. The D7500 also finds a comfortable place in the camera box of semi-pros who want high-quality images and excellent performance without breaking the bank. At last, Nikon has a professional-level APS-C format camera to replace the D300S and compete with Canon's EOS 7D. It's a fantastic DSLR that's packed with pro-spec features, including an impressive AF system and great low-light credentials that enable it to produce high-quality pictures in a wide range of conditions. A brilliant choice for the action and wildlife photographer. The D500 is aimed at serious enthusiasts and professional photographers who want a smaller, lighter camera than a full-frame model, such as the D810 or D5. It's also designed for pros who want a focal-length magnification of the DX format sensor. The XPED5 processing engine also brings a maximum continuous shooting rate of 10 frames per second, for up to 214-bit lossless compressed RAW files, as well as the ability to record 4K UHD movies. It all adds up to a pretty enticing package for sports and action photographers. In addition to the imaging sensor, there's a new 180,000 pixel RGB sensor to handle metering and white balance, as well as informing the automatic scene recognition system to help improve autofocusing with better subject detection. Having the same pixel count as the D5, but on a smaller sensor means the D500's photoreceptors are smaller, and this naturally has an effect on their light gathering power and low light performance. Consequently, the D500 doesn't have quite the same outlandish sensitivity range as the D5. Its standard range is ISO 151,200, with 5 expansion settings taking it up to the equivalent of ISO 1,640,000. A stop lower than the D5's maximum of ISO 3,280,000, but still an incredibly high figure. The D500 has a 3.2-inch, 2,359,000 screen that's touch-sensitive. Unlike the D5, however, this can be used to set the AF point. The D5's is limited to use when reviewing images and inputting text for copyright information and the like. Nikon took its time to create the D500, but it's certainly delivered, producing one of the best APS-C DSLRs yet. It has a range of fantastic functions and performs well in lots of different shooting scenarios, making it the perfect all-rounder for most enthusiasts. Professional photographers who primarily shoot sports and wildlife could also be tempted towards this camera, considering the benefit that shooting with a crop sensor has for longer lenses. The resulting images can also be considered good enough for professional usage, too. Canon's 5D Mark IV is a top performer, but you'll be paying a premium for it. Top-notch images are promised from this camera, which will be all too familiar to existing users of the 5D Mark III, or 5D Mark II. It features a new sensor, with 30.4 megapixels, and like its predecessors, it's a full-frame number. The 5D range is generally where Canon likes to show off its latest innovations, and for this iteration, we have dual-pixel RAW, which promises to shift the focus, ever so slightly, after you've taken the shot. In other words, if you ever so slightly miss focus, and if you have DPR switched on, you might be able to save the final image post-production. If you can justify the outlay, then the Canon EOS 5D Mark IV has to be one of the most well-rounded and complete DSLRs we've seen. Suited to a range of subjects, from landscapes to sports and wildlife, it'll perform superbly in any situation. The 22.3MP sensor in the 5D Mark III was starting to look a little dated compared to some of the competition. It was actually only a minor bump up in resolution from the 5D Mark II, so it's nice to see a notable jump to 30.4MP here. That's not quite rivaling the 36.3MP Nikon D810 or 42MP Sony Alpha 7R2, but media files still come out at 6720 by 4480 pixels, meaning that, if you want to print at 300p, the native size is just under A2, at 56.9 by 37.9 centimeters, while those looking for even more pixels have the option of the 50.6MP 5DS. The 5D Mark IV is also using the same latest generation sensor technology that we've seen in both the Mark II and 80D, with on-chip digital to analog conversion, which should deliver improved noise performance, as well as broader dynamic range. While the Canon EOS 5D Mark IV may look underwhelmingly familiar to the model and supersedes at first sight, don't be fooled, the engineers at Canon haven't stood still. Compared to the EOS 5D Mark III, pretty much every element has been tweaked and improved upon. The full-frame 30.4MP sensor might not quite grab the headlines, like those of some rivals, but it's still a welcome boost in resolution, compared to the 22.3MP of the EOS 5D Mark III, while the improved noise and dynamic range performance make it an even more tempting proposition for those users thinking of upgrading. Whether you're shooting weddings, landscapes, portraits, action, or wildlife, the D850 will not disappoint you. A much more versatile proposition than the D810, the D850 is a brilliant DSLR, and perhaps the most well-rounded camera we've ever tested. Superseding the brilliant 36.3MP D810, that's loved by both pros and enthusiasts alike, the D850 certainly has big shoes to fill. That said, while the D810 ticked a lot of boxes for photographers, its modest burst shooting speed of 5 fps meant it wasn't the perfect all-round DSLR. The Nikon D850 is Nikon's latest high-resolution, full-frame DSLR, boasting a 46MP backside illuminated CMOS sensor. But, in a fairly radical departure for the series, it is also one of the company's fastest-shooting DSLRs. This combination of properties should significantly widen the camera's appeal to high-end enthusiasts, as well as a broad range of professional photographers. The use of a backside illuminated sensor means that the light-collecting elements of the sensor are closer to the surface of the chip. This should not only increase the efficiency of the sensor, but should also be expected to make the pixels near the edges of the sensor better able to accept light approaching, with high angles of incidence, improving peripheral image quality. Like the D810 before it, the D850 continues to offer an ISO 64 mode that allows it to tolerate more light and bright conditions. The D850 promises the same dynamic range advantage as the D810, meaning it should be able to compete with the medium format sensors used in the likes of the Fujifilm GFX50S and Pentax 645Z. In addition to the increased speed, the D850 also gains the full AF capabilities of the company's flagship sports camera, the D5. This includes all the hardware, AF module, metering sensor, and dedicated AF processor, as well as the full range of AF modes and configuration options, which should translate to comparable focus performance, combined with high resolution. At 1080 resolution, the camera can shoot at up to 60p, with a slow motion mode that can capture at 120 frames per second, before outputting at 30, 25, or 24p. The 1080 mode also offers focus peaking and digital stabilization, neither of which are available for 4K shooting. Offering an impressive 45.7MP of resolution, 7 fps burst shooting, full-width 4K video, and a focusing system derived from the flagship D5, it looks as though Nikon's thrown just about everything they've got into the D850, and priced it well to boot. competitors with similarly specced megapixel counts, such as the Sony a7R II and Canon EOS 5 DSLR, may be cheaper at this point in their lifetimes, but they also fall short of the D850 in a number of ways that may make a difference in the way you shoot. In the end, we feel that the D850 will satisfy the needs of an incredible variety of photographers, and we're comfortable saying the D850 is the best DSLR on the market today. For that, it merits our highest award.